The International Loyalty Award is given to just one individual each year in recognition of a lifetime of loyalty to Pi Kappa Alpha. Loyalty is shown through actions manifesting love for our fraternity and its brothers. We evidence our love of Pi Kappa Alpha by our loyalty. Loyalty can be defined as fidelity, as devotion, as faithfulness, and as allegiance. The International Loyalty Award is bestowed on those few brothers whose love of Pi Kappa Alpha is shown by their faithfulness, by their fidelity, and their devotion, year after year, decade after decade, to the success and for the success of our fraternity. Two past Loyalty Award winners have been on today's Academy program. The 1986 Loyalty Award winner was our international historian, Dr. Jerry Reel. The 1994 Loyalty Award winner was Patrick W. Halloran, today's Distinguished Service Award winner. This year, the Loyalty Award recognizes a brother of Pi Kappa Alpha who has exhibited his loyalty to Pi Kappa Alpha at the local and regional levels for 50 years. This year's recipient is Bill Vogle, a 1966 initiate of Gamma Upsilon chapter at the University of Tulsa. Incidentally, Bill's son Brian is likewise a brother in the bonds of Pi Kappa Alpha. Bill, stand up just for a minute so we all know who we're talking about. Bill Vogle's extraordinary service to Pi Kappa Alpha was recognized 24 years ago at this very event when he was chosen as the 1993 National Chapter Advisor of the Year here in Memphis. But this achievement was a precursor to his service as Arcoma Regional President from 1997 to 2002. Bill's loyalty to Pi Kappa Alpha has included decade after decade of service beginning in the 1970s. To Gamma Upsilon chapter as chapter advisor, as president and director of Gamma Upsilon Building Corporation, and as alumni advisory board financial advisor. Moreover, when I talked to Paul Wilkening earlier today, Bill, who sends his regards, we're not going to use all the material, no, who served with you in an alumni capacity, one of the things he reminded me, he said, John, you know that fabulous Gamma Upsilon chapter house that's 4 stories tall? And I said, yes, I do. It's just right on the edge of campus. And he said, yes, it used to be a dormitory. And I said, yes, it did. That's just marvelous. You can walk out, you're literally on campus. He said, you have no idea over the last years the problems we've had with the university imposing requirements for the ever improvement of that chapter house. And Bill Vogle, year after year, decade after decade, he's the person who went and caused the things to happen that needed to happen to cause the chapter house to be protected. So we appreciate that. Moreover, there's a concept. There are certain people they're the essential brother, the essential man. Bill Vogle has been the essential brother, the essential man for that particular chapter at the University of Tulsa all these many, many years. You know, there's in other chapters, some of you know of a person whose name is synonymous with the chapter. At 8 Omicron, Brother Walpole, his name is synonymous with that chapter. So it is with Gamma Upsilon chapter. Bill Vogle and Gamma Upsilon, those are synonyms. And that's why he's honored with this Lifetime Achievement Award, the Loyalty Award. Incidentally, Bill's service has been constant in good times and bad. The chapter was placed in alumni receivership, and dutifully, Bill served as chairman of the Alumni Receivership Board. Then, with Bill's guidance, Gamma Upsilon not only successfully graduated from receivership, but went on to win 7 Smythes and 2 Newell Awards for the most improved chapters. 7 Smythes. Bill Vogle has been a mentor to successive generations of brothers of Pi Kappa Alpha, contributing to their success as individuals and guiding them to fraternal excellence as a chapter. Winston Churchill said that one makes a living from what one gets, but he makes a life from what he gives. Bill Vogle has made a life through service to Pi Kappa Alpha. Please join me in welcoming the 2017 International Loyalty Award winner, Brother Bill Vogle.
So I come in last evening and get the program, and the comment is remarks from the Loyalty Award recipient. They could have told me that earlier in the summertime sometime, but thanks for the notice there. They will be remarkably short for that reason. I am extremely honored, more than I can properly convey. And more than that, I am humbled by this recognition from Pi Kappa Alpha. I looked over the list of prior recipients: John, Dr. Reel, other names, Bill LaForge, gentlemen that I have known and had the opportunity to work with in the past with this wonderful fraternity. Other gentlemen that aren't with us today here at this meeting: Ed Peace and Jerry Askew, Ray Orange, gentlemen that have meant a lot to me and have worked to help us, not only this fraternity, but me personally and my chapter in Tulsa. And I am thankful for the opportunity to have known those men and worked with them in the past. At a ceremony today, we initiated a gentleman, Mr. Novak, and I was sitting there and thinking back about my own initiation. March 20th of 1966, and it was some 50 some odd years ago. And I could visualize, I think, almost every single step I took during that ceremony 50 years ago. It was that meaningful, that monumental to me and to me at that time as a young college freshman. I had no idea that I would be here today from that event. It also brought back a memory of a special initiation of the son of my best friend, my fraternity brother. We had the opportunity to go to the home of that brother on a very short notice and arrange a very special initiation for a young man whose father, my best friend, passed away the next day. I don't think anything in my life has influenced me more than that, and those memories came flooding back to me today. Someday, perhaps, through some other event in your life, you'll have the opportunity to look back at your initiation and have those, even though tragic in that particular event, those pleasant thoughts. This journey began in 1966, actually 1965, when I pledged, back when it took 6 or 7 months to be initiated, not 6 weeks or whatever now. It really began for me, this journey began for me really in 1989 when I took a call from Ray Orens, the executive vice president at that time, who told me that my chapter was in trouble. John alluded to that event. When I graduated, we had a 120-man chapter. Ray told me we had 12 men in that chapter at that time. 12 men in a 20,000 square foot fraternity house with a leaky roof, no hot water, windows that were broken, doors that were missing. 7 of the 8 heaters in the building were just gone. A real ramshackle of a building. 12 men wandering around in that structure. We put together an alumni team and began work. The national office sent in a team of its best rush recruiters. And a year later, that 12-man chapter was now 7 men. We lost a few in the process. And we couldn't buy a pledge. Those men had forgotten completely about what it meant to be a member of Pi Kappa Alpha. They had not been to an event like this in years. They had not been to a convention. They had had sparse attendance at the Arcoma Regional Conference when those conferences were within the region themselves. They had forgot what it meant to be one of you sitting in this room today. So we got some money together and we packed them up and we started sending them to these events. And we sent them there with 2 missions. One, go and have fun. That was a given. No problem with that one. But the second one was go and learn stuff. Go and talk to the people in that room. Listen to what they have to say. Pick their brains. Find out what made them the best that Pi Kappa Alpha had to offer. Find out what allowed those men to sit at the table with these men and their excellent awards today. And they did, and they went and they learned stuff, and they came back and they started applying that. And as John mentioned a few years later, in Memphis, in this hotel, perhaps even in this room, they won the Harvey T. Newell Award for the Most Improved Chapter. And that was followed by a series of Smythe Awards. They've done marvelous work, and I'm very proud to have been a part of them. But they did the work. And I stand here today only because of those men. I stand here today on their shoulders. On the shoulders of one of my sons who came in early in this process and took a chance on Pi Kappa Alpha when it was far and away not the best fraternity on our campus. He does not recognize the chapter that he was in at that time. This summer we will end up spending a total in the last 20 years of about $600,000 on that ramshackle fraternity house. And it's a wonderful structure now, and we're proud of it. I am extremely proud to be here today, but I recognize fully that I stand here on the shoulders of those men, the men that are here today representing my chapter, for they have done the work. I am exceptionally grateful for the gift of fraternity and what it's meant to me. And I am blessed to continue, hopefully, for a significantly long period of time, to continue to be of service to men such as you. Thank you very much.